The girl who mended clocks. All right, settle in. Let your shoulders soften into the pillow. Breathe out long and slow like you're blowing out a candle across the room. Good. Tonight, we're slipping through the fog-draped alleys of London again, but not to the Haymarket this time. No, tonight we're heading just a few streets east, to a quieter lane where gaslights flicker like tired stars and the brickwork is soot-stained but clean. There's ivy climbing the side of a narrow townhouse, number 17, Bell Lane, and behind its lace-curtained windows, life hums with a different kind of rhythm. You're not Mary tonight, you're Eleanor. But here they call you Nell, and you've just woken up. It's 5:30 a.m., and dawn hasn't yet broken through the thick November gloom. The room is colder than it should be, but you don't mind. Cold keeps your thoughts sharp. You lie on your back, hands folded over your chest like you're in a coffin, listening. The house is still. Downstairs, the kitchen range hasn't been lit. No clatter of pans, no Betsy humming off-key as she scrubs the steps. Just the soft sigh of wind through the chimney and the distant clanging of a loose shutter somewhere on the next block. You stretch one leg, then the other. Your toes curl against the rough wool of your blanket. The mattress beneath you is stuffed with straw, not horsehair, like at Cartwright's place, and it crackles faintly when you shift. But it's yours, or as close to yours as anything can be in a life like this. You sit up slowly, pushing your dark auburn hair from your face. It's longer now than when you arrived past your shoulders, thick and slightly unruly. You never had time to care for it when you were working at the watchmaker's shop. Back then, it was always pinned up tight, tucked under a cap, out of the way of tiny gears and oil-stained rags. Ah, yes, the watchmaker. That's how you ended up here, though not the way you'd expect. You weren't ruined by a lover or cast out by your family. In fact, your father was the watchmaker, a quiet man with ink-stained fingers and a tremor in his left hand from years of holding tweezers. You learned to mend clocks before you could read. By 12, you could disassemble a pocket chronometer blindfolded. By 16, you were faster than your older brother, though he'd never admit it. But when Father died of consumption last spring, the shop went to the bank. No widow, no son of age, just you, a girl with clever hands and no legal standing. The landlord gave you 3 days to clear out. You sold what you could, tools, half-finished commissions, even your mother's silver locket. It wasn't enough to rent a room, let alone start over. That's when Mrs. Vale found you. She didn't come with promises of silk dresses or champagne. She came with a bowl of beef stew and a question. Can you keep secrets, Nell, and keep a room tidy? And hold your tongue when a gentleman's had too much to drink? You said yes. And so for the past 8 months you've lived at the Gilded Lily, a brothel that doesn't call itself that, of course. No red doors, no painted ladies in the windows. Just a respectable-looking house with polished brass knobs and a discreet bell pull. Mrs. Vale runs it like a boarding school crossed with a bank. Strict schedules, weekly ledgers, and a rule that no girl works past midnight unless she volunteers. You swing your legs over the side of the bed. The floorboards are icy. You reach for your robe-soft flannel, patched at the elbows, and slip it on. On the small table beside your bed sits your one treasure, a broken carriage clock, its face cracked, its hands frozen at 3:17. You've been fixing it in secret, piece by piece, using tools you bartered for with a pawnbroker. It's almost whole again, just needs a new mainspring. You splash cold water on your face from the basin. The shock wakes you fully. Outside, London stirs. A milk cart rattles by. A dog barks. A night watchman calls the hour, though it's long past his time. You smile faintly. Even the city gets tired. By 6, the house is alive. You join the others in the kitchen, Clara, Maggie, Daisy, and Anya around the scarred oak table. Cook serves porridge with molasses and real tea, not chicory. Mrs. Vale believes in feeding her girls well. A hungry woman is a desperate woman, she says, and desperation makes mistakes. You eat in comfortable silence. No one speaks of last night's clients. That's an unspoken rule. Mornings are for mending not just clothes, but spirits. Your chore today is polishing the silver. Not the fancy stuff that's Cook's domain, but the small trays, candlesticks, and teapots used in the upstairs parlors. You work in the back parlor, sunlight struggling through grimy windows, your fingers moving with the same precision you once used on escapements and balance wheels. Back and forth, round and round. The silver gleams under your cloth, reflecting fragments of your face. Tired eyes, a smudge of soot on your cheek, but a steadiness in your gaze that wasn't there a year ago. At 10, the doctor comes. Dr. Finch is older than Dr. Harrison, with a limp from the Crimea and a habit of humming hymns while he works. He's kind, in a distant way. He doesn't look you in the eye during the examination, which you appreciate. Dignity matters, even in undignified circumstances. You pass, as always. You're careful. Mrs. Vale insists on it. Your body is your livelihood, she told you once. So treat it like a fine instrument, not a tool to be broken. Afternoon brings your first visitor, Mr. Pembroke, a retired schoolmaster who comes every Thursday. He doesn't want what most men want. He wants to read poetry aloud Keats, mostly while you sit beside him on the chaise, mending a tear in his waistcoat. He pays for your time, your attention, your quiet presence. And sometimes, just sometimes, he cries softly into a handkerchief embroidered with his late wife's initials. You don't ask why, you just stitch. Later, during a rare lull, you slip out for air. You walk to the bookstall on Charing Cross Road, where the old man lets you browse as long as you like. Today you buy a slim volume of Christina Rossetti. You tuck it inside your shawl like contraband. Back at the house, evening preparations begin. You change into your best dress, deep green velvet, slightly too large, but it hides the mended seam at the shoulder. You twist your hair into a loose chignon, tucking in a single ivory comb you traded 3 shillings for. No rouge, no powder. Mrs. Vale prefers natural charm, as she calls it. You pinch your cheeks for color and dab lavender water behind your ears. Dinner is roast chicken and buttered turnips. Mrs. Vale joins you tonight, her silver hair coiled tight, her black dress severe but elegant. She asks about Mr. Pembroke. You tell her he recited Ode to a Nightingale. She nods. He's a good man, she says simply, broken like so many, but good. At 8, the clients arrive. A barrister, a ship's captain, a young man who stammers and won't meet your eyes. You treat them all the same, with calm hands and a listening ear. You've learned that most men don't come for sex. They come for witness, to be seen, if only for an hour, as something other than what the world demands they be. Your last visitor is Mr. Thorne, a widower who owns a printing press. He's been coming for months. Tonight he brings you a gift, a small box wrapped in brown paper. Inside is a brand new mainspring brass, gleaming perfect. For your clock, he says quietly. I heard you were fixing one. You don't know what to say, so you thank him, your voice thick. He stays only 20 minutes. No intimacy, just tea and talk of typography and the way ink smells when it's fresh on the page. After he leaves, you sit alone in your room, turning the mainspring in your palm. It's cold, precise, full of potential energy. You think of all the broken things you've made whole again. Clocks, dresses, spirits, yourself. Upstairs. Lily, no, not Lily. Clara knocks softly. You decent? Always, you call. She enters with 2 mugs of chamomile. Storm's coming, she says, handing you one. Thunder already over the river. You sip the tea. Warm, bitter, perfect. Do you ever think about leaving? She asks suddenly, staring into her cup. You look at the clock on your dresser, still silent, still frozen. Every day, you say. But not yet, because here you have food, safety, a room with a lock, and sometimes, just sometimes, a moment of unexpected grace, a mainspring in a paper box, a poem in your pocket, a friend who brings you tea in the dark. You blow out the lamp. Rain begins to fall, soft at first, then steady. You pull the blanket up to your chin. Your body aches in the good way, the way it does after honest work. Your mind is quiet. The house creaks around you like a ship at anchor. And as sleep pulls you under, you dream not of escape, but of time unfurling, patient, ticking forward 1 repaired second at a time. Sleep now, Nell, sleep now, dear listener. The night is long, but you are safe, and tomorrow is another day to mend what's broken.